to Simply Fajika, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. My name is Fajika, and I help people achieve owning and operating their non-medical home care agencies. Listen, I am so thankful that you have chosen to spend another week with me here at Simply Fajika. Today I want to talk about a topic that is not a shock to a lot of us in the home care industry, and certainly it's something that I'm talking to you about on a weekly basis, which is caregiver shortages in this home care field that we all service. I know I experienced this not only as a home care agency owner, as I'm standing up my business in Arizona. I know some of you have been checking in on me with that, but also as a consumer. This is something, home care is something that I need on a personal basis for a family member. And so I have seen on both sides of the coin that impact of having caregiver shortages. So I want to spend some time talking about that. What is happening? Why are we coming across these shortages? And what can we do about it as agency owners? So if that's something that you're interested in, and I truly hope it is, then stay tuned. You've heard me talk about on this channel before that the demand for home care is booming. So when people ask me, hey, is this something that's profitable? Is this something that is a steady market? My answer hands down is always yes. Remember, by the year 2030, all of our baby boomers would have reached the retirement age, which makes this a perfect time for you to stand up your home care agency. But here's the issue. Even though the work is increasing, that increase is creating a shortage for caregivers. According to recent studies, over 70% of home care agencies are saying their number one challenge is making sure they are adequately staffed to take for their clients. This means that clients go without care, and as a result, our agencies are losing money. So let's spend some time talking about what's causing the shortage. I know that a lot of these topics can be quite complex, and we're not going to solve it here in 10 minutes, but I'm going to try my best to give you an overview, and of course, I'm going to suggest some potential solutions. So in today's video, we are going to discuss about 4 scenarios in terms of why we are losing our caregivers at a high rate. The first is low pay, high burnout. A lot of our caregivers are just barely making above minimum wage. And with the cost of living increasing each and every, almost it seems like every day, that minimum wage just is not going to cut someone being able to support their family. In addition to that, this line of work can be physically and mentally draining. The second reason is the lack of a career path. So a lot of times our caregivers are looking to grow. They're looking to see what are next steps in their career. And a lot of times when our caregivers go to look for these jobs, they're working for years at a time without any benefit in terms of upward movement. They don't know what their career paths are. They don't know what next steps in even obtaining that next level. So this is something that is making them turn to something where they see foreseeable growth. The third reason that I have from you is just sheer competition from other agencies. We are seeing the headlines now where sometimes even fast food can pay more than caregiving. And so when you think of that stress that I talked about earlier in this video, some people are thinking, some of our caregivers are deciding that it will be less stressful for them and they can make the same or more money doing something such as fast food or retail. The fourth reason that I'm hearing a lot of is just that pandemic fallout. A lot of our workers were kind of forced out of that role just because of the sheer fear of COVID-19. I remember trying to stand up my business during that time, and not to point the finger at anyone, but I just remember guidance being slow because we didn't know what we were dealing with. We didn't even know at that time how severe this was going to be. And because of that, that scared a lot of people out of the industry. They didn't know if they were going to get ill taking care of someone or bring illness to someone who already has a compromised immune system. And so for that reason, a lot of people fled the industry just because of the uncertainty of that time. So what does this mean? What does this impact mean on agencies? Well, you can't service your clients without caregivers. I would say that's the biggest fallout that the home care agencies have received. For those that stay behind, for those that stick it out and stay with the agencies, a lot of those caregivers are expressing burnout because it's up to them to pick up additional shifts. Because of the constant churn and burn, because of the constant double, triple shifts, there's going to be a drop in morale. Remember that your caregiver's happiness is based on the level of work that they have at your agency. And so if they're feeling overworked, undervalued, that's going to make your reputation not only take a hit with the caregiver, but guess who's taking care of that client? And that client is going to feel that dissatisfaction either in that person's attitude or the level of service that they're receiving. So again, we know that this is a big issue for our agencies today. Okay, so we have spent quite a bit of time talking about what are some of those challenges, what are some of the reasons behind the challenges that we have been experiencing behind staffing. And so I want to kind of flip the coin a little bit. And let's really kind of lift the tone of this video to start talking about some solutions. There have been home care agencies that were able to survive the pandemic, and they are thriving now. So let's talk about how they have been able to do that. The first thing that they've been able to do is provide better pay and offer benefits. Now, I do want to start this off by saying I'm not telling you to go out and automatically give everybody a raise. However, what I am saying is you are going to have to do some type of analysis to understand how much you need to pay your caregivers to make sure that you're being competitive, right? You're making those caregivers want to stay with you, but that you are also making money. So remember, I do have a business plan course that will help you do some of this analysis. We'll make sure that that's included in the video description. But if you are not up to purchasing a course, remember I have actually done a free video, that you can watch at any time on what goes into a successful business plan. So make sure you check out one of those items. But remember, it's not just about the hourly pay. It's also about referral bonuses. Maybe it's attendance bonuses, because that's another thing that I hear behind the scenes. My caregivers, I can't get them to come to work. I can't get them to be on time. So maybe if you incentivize and recognize the people who are attending their shifts, picking up extra shifts, what does that look like for you to put in some type of bonus into their pay, so that they can not only feel valued, but they understand that there's a monetary reward tied to their performance. The second thing that you heard me talk about is online career paths. Now, I remember helping an agency last year where my client was going to, if her people weren't certified, she was going to kind of put in a buffer to help people go through their classes or getting their certifications, just to kind of build in that rapport, build in that value to make that caregiver want to kind of stay on with them, right? And so to some of you that may sound like, oh, that's a little extreme, I will tell you it did work for her. It did work for her, but that's not the only thing you can do, right? Maybe it's the type of resources that you offer your caregivers. Maybe it's the type of training that you offer them. Really building that skill set so that they can bring that back to your agency, right? You have heard me talk about building that career path. So maybe someone comes in as a caregiver, okay? Maybe their initial role is caregiver 1. What does it take for them to become a caregiver 2? What does that look like for that caregiver in terms of time frame and performance? What does it take to achieve that caregiver 2? Do you have any lead opportunities where this person can be a lead caregiver? Maybe you have a training caregiver, right? So there's just different ways that you can build that in so that as you're recruiting caregivers, you can highlight that you do have a career path within your agency. It may take some time to really flesh all that out, but once you get it stood up, this is a perfect way for you to retain and attract quality caregivers. You have heard me talk about this a lot, but building a company culture that cares. So recognizing birthdays. And remember, when I talk to you all, I try to be cognizant of the fact that sometimes there's not a lot of money to be shared right? And especially at first, you were really lean at first. So just making sure that you're putting an effort into saying happy birthday, recognizing that's happy birthday. Maybe it is an email with the rest of the caregivers copied on it or blind copied so that everyone at the same time can get that email. That costs nothing. Maybe it's just sending that person a text message and a $5 Starbucks card to say, hey, listen, have a cup on me today, right? So it's just something to really instill in the fact that you care about them, that they are valued at your agency. Absolutely, open communication. So if that caregiver wants to talk to you outside of shift, or if they have to raise a concern, does that caregiver know how to reach you? Do they know your preferred method of communication? These are some of the things that really build your culture. And then just do some wellness check-ins. I know for me, if I have a friend that I haven't spoken to in a while and they reach out and they say, hey Fajika, I just want to check in to see how you're doing, that goes a long way. Can you imagine how far that goes for an employee? Just reach out, just send them a text message. Hey, not sure if I'm going to be able to talk to you today, but have a wonderful day. I hope you and your client have a great day today. Just something of that nature. Okay. The fourth tip that I have for you here is flexible scheduling. Now, I will tell you, and you have heard me share before, when you're hiring people, it is so nice when you're building that pipeline. Understand what their schedule needs are at that time, because as you are building that out, you really and truly get to honor what a person wants in their schedule. And then as you continue the hiring process, you're hiring to fill those gaps, so that a person feels, wow, this is a great job. It fits my schedule perfectly. I'm still able to pick up my kids. I'm still able to drop off my kids. I still can attend functions based on the schedule that I have. That is so important to someone who's working. So as much as you can, make sure that your scheduling is flexible, and make sure that you have different options. So maybe you have part-time and full-time. Maybe you have weekends only, nights only. So things of that nature to ensure that you're not only meeting the needs of your agency, but you're meeting the needs of your caregivers as well. So this is where I want to add a tip. Remember, the agencies that are winning, the agencies that are doing well, they are the agencies that treat people like people. So remember, caregivers want to be seen, not just heard. So the agencies that are thriving understand that their caregivers are people, not just employees. So I have given you a behind the scenes. I'm telling you some ways that you can improve. So what can you do now? Well, the first thing that you can do is do a brief review of what your current pay structure is. Audit your culture. Do you have check-ins implemented? Do you have milestone anniversaries? Maybe birthday recognition. Is that something that you already have in play? If not, how soon can you implement that into your agency? Improve your onboarding and training. We've talked about that a lot on this channel. Make sure you communicate often, not just when it's a problem. That's something that I know, as when I have been an employee in the past, I used to hate when the only time I had conversations with my boss is because something bad was going on. Make sure that you reach out to your caregivers for things other than to critique them, so that every conversation isn't an anxiety-ridden experience. You really want to make sure that you kind of have a balance between the negative and the positive. Track your caregiver satisfaction just like you do your clients. They should have an outlet. They should have a way to express how they're feeling and how things can be improved upon. So you want to hear that. While they're giving you those suggestions, it's good to hear those, because when your caregivers or your employees grow silent on you, you know there's an issue. So today I have talked about the workforce challenge of hiring and retaining caregivers. What's your biggest challenge? Make sure you put that information in the comment section, and who knows, I may do a video about it in a future video. So I do hope that you like this video. Do not forget that I have started my community. I want to thank you for those who have already joined. I'm excited to start reaching out and really getting some traction in our community. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And then of course, do not forget to sign up for my only caregiver course, which is in June of this year. So enrollment is not open, but you can certainly express interest and we will reach out to you when it is time to enroll. Okay, so if you enjoyed today's video, I would appreciate it if you like the video. Don't forget to share the content with someone that you think would benefit from it. Subscribe to the channel, and of course hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time I release a new video. That's all I have for you all today. Stay blessed.